FNAF's Vanny, being the main antagonist of Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach, has had some pretty messed up moments, from wearing that godforsaken suit to pulling magic tricks with kids and cadavers. There are some pretty messed up situations that she's gotten her blood-soaked paws into, but which ones are the worst? That's what we're exploring today. Let's do it. Into 10 human masks. Now it's unclear what she does with these human masks, but through the FNAF AR emails we learned that Vanessa, while in her Vanny Persona 5, ended up purchasing 3 realistic human masks. Nobody knows why. There's no idea, okay? It's like, it's never brought up again. But honestly, you gotta admit that that's pretty terrifying no matter what she ended up using them for. Like, maybe they were for realistic humanoid robots, or maybe she wanted to prank people on Omegle where she pretends to be a dude or something. I don't know. But the possibilities are fairly finite but also endless, if you know what I'm saying. Like, there are so many things that she could be doing with those masks that it's impossible to guess, but there's also only so many things that she could be doing with those masks. I mean, like, educated guessing and matpat both lean towards at least one of the masks being used on Gregory, but this begs the question, where did the other 2 go, or where were they used, or even if they were used at all? Vanessa and Gregory are the only 2 human characters in the game, so like, what's the deal here? Like, just buying them is scary enough, but then does she use them or does she just like hang them up on her wall? In a 9 bunny suit. Now, making the suit itself isn't scary, okay? People do it all the time. Hell, I've made a couple costumes myself. Or at least helped with their creation. But I mean, like, they weren't furry suits. But the creation of the bunny suit itself isn't the scary part, okay? The scary part is why she made the suit. The implications and the reasoning behind it. She made the costume because William kind of forced her hand while he was taking over, threatening her if she didn't comply. And the suit was made to turn children into corpses. So, I mean, like, it's pretty horrifying to think about. It's like what the suit was made for specifically. Maybe the original spring bodysuit wasn't made for that and just ended up becoming that kind of suit, but this suit was specifically designed with this in mind. Same thing could be said for the glitch trap suit, but it's not like a physical suit that can be worn. It's a digital manifestation that AFTON merely took control of and in essence made a copy of so that he'd have a vessel in the game world. But like, this is an actual costume that was made with the express purpose of getting close to kids and then offing them and doing experiments with cadavers. So yeah, pretty terrifying, not to mention the whole furry implication thing. In an 8 corrupt FUNTIME service. Now, while Gregory might be the culprit behind the FNAF security breach animatronics going haywire according to some theories, the corrupt animatronics from FNAF AR are an entirely different story. These are most likely caused by Vanny, as she was trying to find a new host for AFTON using the special delivery animatronics. However, when that didn't work out, they figured that they needed his old vessel to actually return, which would explain the whole moving to the FNAF 6 location thing. However, her corrupting these animatronics directly results in even more deaths at the hands of Fazbear Entertainment, which is a whole other issue that I don't understand how their world hasn't addressed yet. Like, get the cops investigating, or someone hire a private investigator, please, for the love of God. Like, someone has to be suspicious about what's going on here, right? Like, Fazbear Entertainment is sus as hell. They clearly vented. I was on cams, I saw it. Fred is sus. And it's 7 taunting. Now, being a killer is one thing, but when you're so sadistic that you end up taunting the various characters or people, that's when it ends up getting scarier. And Vanny certainly does this. Whether it's her on the sound system, her popping up on the TV, or her joyfully skipping down towards us until she's close enough to dash. She's playing with us like we're a pet on a farm before she ultimately puts us down so the family can have dinner. Like, come on. There's no way that she's just like that, especially with AFTON being the one who's controlling her. He essentially is just making this another version of himself. So yeah, her taunting us, her playing with her food is some of the freakiest crap in this game. Like, imagine if Ted Bundy or John Wayne Gacy was coming after you and they were just like skipping down the street in the middle of the night being lit by lamp posts. That's basically what this is. Actually, based on Supernatural's depiction, this is exactly how Gacy would have acted, but like, either way, it's still creepy as hell. And it's 6 survived. Not only was she playing with her food the entire game, only appearing a couple of times despite being heavily featured in the promotions, she didn't end up dying at the end of the game like we all thought would happen. Well, at least she hasn't like officially died as of yet. With her not being present in the cave during the canon true ending, we have no idea where she was or even how much of the Pizzaplex was affected. If she was in the section that collapsed, presumably Roxy's Raceway, then she'd probably be dead. Or if the entire Pizzaplex collapsed, she might be dead. But those are only possibilities, since we don't know what really happened while we're just chilling on a hill with Freddy. It was left obscure on purpose, because not only is this FNAF, but also because whoever's taking over next can go in any direction based on how they saw the ending. Vanny could have died, or she could have survived. AFTON could have been killed by the blob, or it could have been saved by it. It's anyone's guess, which means that Vanny's ending is the most obscure. Great. Halfway through into number 5, security room. And now locking us in a security room while we're trespassing and waiting for the cops is one thing. Doing that, saying you're calling the cops and then not calling them is something else. And on top of that, changing into your serial killer persona and then coming after me while I try to escape with the very clear present on the ground is another thing. But some say we can't fault Vanessa on this because she ends up losing control to AFTON and it's not her fault. Actually, you know what? It is. As we talked about earlier in number 9, Vanessa knows that AFTON is controlling her. Well, maybe not exactly, but she knows that someone else is in her head and that they don't have good intentions. And she knows that she's blacking out. Like, how could you not know that you were blacking out? We know she knows this thanks to the CDs where she talks about how he could be always listening and that she doesn't know where he could be. She knows about this whole thing, yet still locks us in a room where her psychotic double can then find and kill us? Bro, come on. Why would you think that that's a good idea? Just like literally kick us out next time. And at 4, destroyed Freddy. Both the Phaser Blast and the Princess Quest endings both require you to have gone through the Phaser Blast section of the map, since you need to discover Vanny's secret room. Without the Princess Quest machines active though, you are unable to play the third one, so you just end up enacting vigilante justice against Vanny. How do you do this, you ask? With the same robots she ordered to disassemble Freddy, which ends up making a group of staff bots literally tear Freddy limb from limb. Basically. He keeps his limbs, but his insides are absolutely destroyed. Like me when I was eating too much Taco Bell after a night of heavy drinking. His insides are torn apart, and the only way he can survive is by you bringing his head with you, okay? I said in another video that it's a whole other can of worms, and it is, but she still disassembles Freddy, which apparently to Gregory is enough justification to order the robots to absolutely tear this woman to shreds. So there's so little left of her, but we don't even try to unmask her. Probably because that little monster doesn't want to see the human face behind the person he just actually tore apart, but still. And at 3, gets us. The worst ending is called that for a reason. Available no matter what you do at the Pizzaplex, the worst ending is where you just leave the Pizzaplex out the front door, not a care in the world. But the reason it's the worst ending isn't because the kids are still going missing or because Gregory didn't steal Freddy like the thief he truly is. It's because Vanny ends up getting to Gregory when he's sleeping in a cardboard box, spending every dollar at the liquor shop. But as we fall asleep using the newspaper as the most inefficient blanket ever, like bro, it's not even covering half your body, just turn it 90 degrees and actually not freeze to death, you moron. Anyway, as we're sleeping, we see Vanny's shadow pull up on us. However, she isn't carrying a knife or anything, so she may not be there to kill us and instead take us back to the pizza place in an effort to maybe reunite us with our father or something similar. It's just kind of messed up knowing that she does end up getting us on another Earth, though. At least it's not the main Earth, though. Right? Penultimately, in at number 2, missing kids. So, with so many Fazbear locations having kids go missing, you'd think that they go out of business. But maybe every parent feels like they have something to prove, so they risk their kids' lives so that when all is said and done, they can go home and flex on the other parents at the weekly book club meeting, saying their kids survived the trip to Freddy Fazbear's, because of them, of course. But no matter the reason, at least 9 kids have once again gone missing in the newest Fazbear location, resulting in multiple complaints, but as we see in the opening cutscene where Freddy glitches out, still a full house. We don't exactly know what happened to these kids, however we can assume that those kids were in fact made into corpses, perhaps to restore AFTON to full strength, which ultimately didn't work. Or maybe it was just like to power the entire Pizzaplex. Maybe they needed like a sacrifice a month in order to be able to recharge all the animatronics, like an even more messed up version of Monsters Inc. Either way, at least 9 kids have gone missing thanks to Vanny, and as we see in the worst ending, maybe 10. And finally, in at number 1, Resurrected Afton. The scariest thing that Vanny did from any standpoint in this series is resurrecting Afton. Okay, from an in-universe perspective, she just brought back Earth's seemingly most prolific killer. From a story perspective, it kinda comes out of nowhere and feels forced. In a game sense, he just looks terrifying and sends all the broken animatronics after us, and lore-wise as well, because William Afton is back. However, he's not entirely back, considering how this version is actually finally dead, however only functional because of the coded version of Afton's consciousness. We all figured Afton was going to come back this time around, and understandably so, with the first trailer featuring the arm that every YouTuber milked for as long as they could. Us absolutely included, are you kidding me? Daily FNAF videos? This cow has been milked dry, but we're still going for it. PETA hates us. However, actually alive again or not, this is the scariest thing that she's done in many ways. And now it's canon in the universe that people can turn into sentient code that can then be uploaded into animatronics, which is a whole other can of worms that I don't want to deal with today. That's all the time we have for today, friends. Thank you all so much for watching. I have been Ed Shower, me, Connor Monroe, and I'll see you in another video.